According to some commentators and many die-hard fans of Toyota Tacoma trucks, the fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma truck that was introduced in 2024 is in crisis mode. The fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma truck is suffering from many gremlins and defects, including serious brake system issues and failing 8-speed automatic transmissions on some models, as well as other problems that often affect new model releases. Stay with us and watch this video until the end as we consider the details of the Toyota Tacoma Crisis. What on earth is going on? Brake system safety recall. Toyota is currently recalling more than 100,000 fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma trucks over an issue that could cause partial or even total brake system failure while the vehicle is in motion. The issue is that a buildup of mud and dirt in the rear brakes could potentially damage some rear brake lines to the point where brake fluid could start leaking from the brake system, which, if it happens, could cause a failure of the brake system. However, for the moment, this recall applies only to Toyota Tacoma trucks from the 2024 and 2025 build years that are fitted with all-wheel drive, 17-inch wheels, and 16-inch brakes. It is worth noting that only trucks built between 2 January 2024 and 17 January 2025 are affected. Here is the thing though. According to Toyota, there is no immediate fix available, which in practice means that if the brake system on your fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma truck that qualifies for this recall has not failed yet, the wisest course of action to follow would be to not venture off-road where mud and dirt could possibly build up in the brakes. And also according to official Toyota sources, Toyota will eventually replace the rear brake lines on affected trucks with more robust lines, which in translation means Toyota currently does not know how to prevent damage from occurring to the brake lines on affected trucks in the first place. So until Toyota develops a definitive remedy for this problem, and you own or drive an affected fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma truck, we would recommend that you do not expose the truck to conditions that could conceivably allow mud and dirt to accumulate around the rear brakes. It is worth mentioning, though, that Toyota is currently investigating the possibility that fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma trucks with other drive configurations and wheel and brake combinations might also be affected by this particular brake system issue. Failing 8-speed automatic transmissions. Looking around discussion forums dedicated to fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma trucks quickly reveals a large number of owners and fleet operators complaining about serious reliability issues with the 8-speed automatic transmission used in the latest iteration of the Tacoma model range. While Toyota is recognizing the problem with malfunctioning pressure control solenoid actuators and torque converters lock-up clutch actuators, they are very careful not to characterize these problems as a safety recall. Instead, Toyota is referring to these issues that, incidentally, can immobilize an affected Tacoma truck as a technical service bulletin, under the conditions of which Toyota will replace affected 8-speed automatic transmissions free of charge. However, there is a catch to this particular technical service bulletin. It turns out that Toyota is at some pains to point out that it will not replace all 8-speed automatic transmissions in all fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma trucks. Toyota will only replace affected transmissions that have already failed. So where does this leave you if you own or drive an affected fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma truck? Quite simply, it leaves you with only two choices. The first is to drive your Tacoma truck until the automatic transmission fails, regardless of how inconvenient that might be when it happens. And the second is to get rid of your truck and replace it with a Tacoma model with a manual transmission, since manual transmissions are not affected by this issue. Fortunately though, there is a way to tell if the 8-speed transmission in your fourth-generation Toyota Tacoma truck is failing. You can have its onboard diagnostic system scanned at a dealership for one or more specific trouble codes. These trouble codes relate specifically to the problematic components in affected transmissions, and for the reference purposes, these trouble codes are P07407F, P079571, P08BA71, P271371, P280771, and P281671. It is worth noting that this particular technical service bulletin is very clear about the need for one or more of the listed trouble codes to be present before a dealership will replace an 8-speed automatic transmission and torque converter in an affected Toyota Tacoma truck. So no trouble codes means no new transmission and torque converter assembly. However, more bad news is that Toyota has not yet developed a remedy for this problem. So if Toyota does replace your failed automatic transmission, it is on the basis of Toyota hoping that the replacement transmission or torque converter won't also fail. No V6 engine option. Pickup trucks of any brand that are powered with V8 engines are fast becoming a rarity. But previous iterations of the Toyota Tacoma model range at least offered a choice of either 4-cylinder or V6 engines, while the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma truck model range is exclusively powered by 4-cylinder engines. According to some reviewers and many owners of 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks, the 4-cylinder engines develop acceptable levels of power and torque, with the non-hybrid versions delivering 278 horsepower and up to 317 pound-feet of torque, while the hybrid drivetrain delivers 326 horsepower and a very respectable 465 pound-feet of torque. However, the problem with 4-cylinder engines is their widely separated torque input points, which translates into the fact that no 4-cylinder engine can ever run as smoothly as a V-type engine, simply because the inherent balance of V-type engines is vastly superior to that of 4-cylinder engines, regardless of how advanced or refined any 4-cylinder engine is. Many owners of 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks are reporting that they experience different types of vibrations in the cabs of their trucks under some operating conditions. Some owners have reported severe vibrations of the hood at some engine speeds and loads, while others have reported vibrations on the steering wheel, as well as vibrations that affect the entire cab, especially under hard acceleration or high engine loads. While such vibrations do not represent a safety issue, these vibrations are almost certainly a result of the poor inherent balance of the 4-cylinder engine that is exacerbated by inadequate vibration suppression measures. However, in the interest of fairness, it must be stated that both automotive reviewers and owners of 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks have said that the overall ride comfort of 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks is markedly superior to previous generations, while road and wind noise levels are noticeably lower than in previous generations. Potential fatal tow hitch flaw. For reasons that are only known to Toyota, the tow hitches on 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks are no longer separate components that are bolted to the rear of the frame. Instead, tow hitches on 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks are now integrated into the frame and welded into place, which effectively turns the tow hitches on these trucks into stressed components of the frame. So what is the problem with that, you may ask? You may well ask because, unlike bolt-on tow hitches that deform in light rear-end accidents or impacts that can be easily replaced, the welded-in tow hitches on 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks transfer impact forces into the frame, instead of merely deforming without affecting the frame. So in practice, if you suffer even a small rear-end impact, the solid tow hitch could easily deform the frame by 4 millimeters or more. And the problem with that is that Toyota will only cover frame deformations that do not exceed 4 millimeters. The practical effect of this is that if the rear of the frame deforms by more than 4 millimeters, your insurance carrier will regard your 4th generation Toyota Tacoma truck as totaled. This could have devastating financial implications for you if your truck is financed and you do not have sufficient insurance coverage to cover the shortfall between what your insurance thinks your now totaled truck is worth and the cost of a comparable replacement truck. As a practical matter though, the main reason why insurance carriers total new Tacoma trucks with minor frame damage is that it could take up to a year or sometimes longer to source a replacement frame. Although the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma truck sales numbers of 192,813 for 2024 would suggest that even major components like frames should be available at relatively short notice. In reality though, replacement frames for 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks are not readily available, so keep this in mind when you take out insurance coverage for your new Toyota Tacoma truck. Questionable affordability. Even many die-hard fans of Toyota Tacoma trucks hold the opinion that the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks are somewhat overpriced. But to be fair, there is currently no reason to believe that the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks won't come to hold their value as well as the previous generation did. Nonetheless, in today's economic climate, price is everything. So if you're in the market for a new mid-sized truck, you should know that starting prices for the 4th generation Toyota Tacoma trucks begin at $31,590 for the base SR trim level and rise to $63,735 for the top-of-the-range TRD Pro model, which is rather high, given that this generation's bugs are yet to be sorted out.